Hey, getting ready for this thing. I know some people will pop in, so I don't want to do it too soon. Probably the number one question that we get asked in the group is, what is the difference between the 200 Pro and the 200 regular? It's probably literally the number one question that we get asked in the group. I know some people who have already invested into these systems, which is what I keep telling everybody over and over again. People who have already invested into these systems are going to make a decision whether they want to buy new flashes or whether they want to keep what they have. There are a lot of people in the group who do not have these flashes yet, so the question gets asked a lot. And some of the members keep chiming in saying, well, you can search it or Google it or whatever. This particular group is set up so that people can ask questions. So seeing that, one of my good friends over at Midwest Photo decided to send me one of these to answer the question. And when I say send very lightly because I have to send it back. Here we go. Like when I say I have to send it back, and I'll show you so that you believe me and you'll know I'm not lying. So there we go right there. That is the return receipt that is going back today. So I wanted to go ahead and do this quick video for you before I head back to the UPS store. I did get a chance to play around with these. I'm gonna turn this camera around for a couple of seconds. So I did get a chance to play around with some of these this weekend. I had an event here in Raleigh, North Carolina, where I used the Ad200pro with the Pro Photo adapter. So that's the Godox ADP6. If I said it right, I'll be happy. I lied. This is ADP. That's the Godox ADP. Camera's right here. So I used that this weekend on the 200 Pro, played around with it. It is a pretty cool setup. I'm going to turn this camera around because I know you don't want to see me this early in the morning, depending on where you are. What are the major differences between the Ad200 and the Ad200 Pro? I'm going to stress this one more time before I get into this. If you want to buy 10 of these tomorrow to replace 10 of these, that is your prerogative. I am not going to tell you how to spend your money. That is you. Is this a complete replacement for this? I'm going to always say that unless you have a lot of money, I wouldn't necessarily go out and just replace it. But if that's what you want, I'm not going to tell you not to. You can see size-wise, they are pretty much the same. One of the major questions has been asking over and over again. This particular Frenzel, or as the manual calls it, speed light head, is what was shipped with the 200 Pro. There is no difference. You can see right here, of course, I have a Flashpoint version and a Godox version. Godox is just what was sent to me from Midwest Pro. It's the same battery. They're interchangeable. It's that same WB29? It's the same battery. So there are no changes there. The Frenzel head is the same. There's no changes there. I just happen to have a round head attachment on it. Live was good, man. I just happen to have the round head attachment on it. So that is pretty much the same right there. If I were to take this same attachment and put it on top of this light, which I should have done when I turned the light off. It doesn't matter because it worked. Haha. Then I would turn that modeling lamp on. The modeling lamp looks the same. Of course it's the same. It's probably shipped as the same exact speed light flash head that was shipped in the original. There is no difference. You're not going to see a 20-watt modeling lamp in this thing as somebody suggested yesterday in the group. It's the same. Now, like everything else in the world, and you see in the background, I have two more of those exact same type conversations. V860 versus the round head speed light. I'm not gonna lie, there's a difference in those. I believe that there is some functionality things that makes this a better speed light. Is this a better 200 than the other? Does it deserve the Pro designation? Well, one of the things I'm gonna say is you have to understand that the Ad200 original was an amazing piece of equipment. So of course the Ad200 original is not going to be too much different from the Pro when it comes to the looks, the body style, the feel. Of course, that's going to be the same. If it's not broke, do not fix it. Now, speaking of being broke, one of the things that I do notice immediately from the two flashes is how, like, if you have a Samsung phone here recently, like mine, that has broke every single version that I've got, they have got rid of that rounded corner, that bevel corner, which is one of the major reasons why a lot of people break this back glass. So you see that back glass there, it is the furthest thing protruding out from the strobe other than the buttons. If you can see right here, if I turn this sideways, the first thing you'll see is those buttons, because that screen has been recessed and they've added a little small bumper around the edge. Now, if you drop this on a rock from 50 feet, is it going to stop it from breaking? Probably not. But they did fix that. They also fixed and moved this on and off switch, which seems to be the thing that has eluded most people when I give them this flash. They are looking for a physical button like the 600 and cannot figure out how to turn this on. So there's an on and off rocker switch right here, which is how you turn this one on and off. They took that on and off rocker and made it just a little bit easier to press and maneuver. Once again, the 200 Pro and the 200 regular are such a dynamic piece of gear that there weren't many major changes that need to be made, but the changes that were made were functional changes that'll make it better for you to operate. So there is an on and off switch right here. You see you're able to flip that rocker switch a whole lot easier. Outside of that, the slave cell is still up top. If you want to use that slave cell, that is still there. Like I said, that back is recessed. I'm going to say this question was asked, and I literally went to the group last night to see if I could find as many questions that have been asked about this thing. So one of the questions that I'm going to answer for you right here, this is just personal preference. I have good vision, so don't try to judge me. But one of the questions that I have noticed is that one of the things that I have noticed is that the screen pretty much is almost the same brightness. Oh yeah, don't worry, Angela, I'm getting there. I'm doing all of the hardware stuff first. So the screen is pretty much the same brightness. There still isn't an option, and maybe it'll come with the update to update the screen. But I'm going to be honest, in most situations, after you change the group, that's not really much else, any other reason to touch this screen, but it is what it is. But the screen is pretty much the same brightness. And as you also can tell right here, they just added a couple of more buttons. So in order to change the mode, you see the mode is on the bottom here, and the group and channels on the top there. They moved both of those in the same area, which is cool. I think they should be in the same area versus vertically. I mean, vertically. Now they're more horizontal beside each other. You don't have to long press to get into the custom function menu here on this one, where I used to have to long press to get inside that custom function menu. Now I can just hit this menu button here, which I think is pretty nice, without hitting the flash like I did right then, which is kind of weird, but it is what it is. For some odd reason, some people need to see a physical set button, so they added a set button. Trust me, I don't know why, but some people needed to see that set button. I guess it's the younger person in me who knows that that little button right there is probably going to be set. Outside of that, I don't know why my camera is defocusing now. They also added the wireless and the hot sync button right there, and it's not... So the test flash button, which is right here, is still there, but they actually added a wireless and a hot sync button, so you'll be able to access that a whole lot faster versus having to hold another button combination that I can't remember right now. I think it's this one, or it's one of these. This one right here. There we go. The mode right there. And they added an LED light button, so that's pretty cool without having to know that this is the LED light button here. Without having to know that. Now, accessory-wise, the accessories still work the same. One of the big major features, and I take that back. I do see a little bit. Well, I'm gonna say this too, though, Grant. I'm gonna say this too. Before you say that, I am like one of those guys. So this is my flashpoint speed light. I bought this literally almost 2 years ago now, and I still have the plastic on top. So it probably does have more contrast, but as you can already see, I do have a major scratch in the plastic, which easily could have been the screen. So it probably is a lot more high contrast once this piece of plastic comes off. I'm just that guy. I had plastic on my laptop for 2 years. One of the things that you see software wise, which is a big change, is if I hit the menu button and not the mode button. All of the custom function buttons are pretty much the same all the way out. So you still have the slave and optical mode. You still have the option to go in and change some of the other features, like this particular feature right here, which I cannot remember what it is right now to save my life. I think one of the things that I did notice that I do like, I want to say, is custom 3 right here. Custom 3, you can now say, not say now say, because it might honestly be the same on the other one, but you can say that you don't want the particular flash to go to sleep until after 90 minutes. I thought that was a pretty cool feature. And it very well could be on the other one. You can turn that sleep feature completely off. I know a lot of times these things go to sleep after a while. You do have some of the other custom function features that are in there. I am not going to go over all of them, except for this one in particular, which is F8. That is the only way you're going to get to it. Now you see my little light is flashing. That's because this is how you activate the color mode. So this particular color mode here is supposed to, it was initially quoted that it was 50 degrees, 50 degrees of Kelvin difference. So from 5600 to 5700, 5600 to 5650, but we have now been told that it's 5700. So it is 1 off. So that, 100 degrees off. So regardless, in a particular environment where you were using these particular lights and you had, especially if you had a modifier that had a little bit of a shift too, being able to have accurate color is a big plus. Now, when it's in that mode, I'm going to head and dump this flash here. And it dumped all of that I guess unclean mode color, and now it's going to give me the option to be able to shoot in color mode, designated by that C up top. I'm going to turn that feature back off real quick, if you don't mind. Outside of that, the physical pieces that you see, I know the question was asked not too long ago on Facebook. Do you believe that this could be a pro-related flash? While I'm... yes, definitely. I think the 200 was already technically in the pro category, but the added features that were brought to it, they're pretty cool. It's not gonna be perfect. I think it's pretty cool. Check this out real quick while you're looking. So I do have the trigger set up here. I have both of these now. I do not have both of these now, but I will soon take both of these and go to 1-in-1 power. So at 1-in-1 power, you can see that if I were to hit this test button here, both of these are not at 1-in-1 power. I don't know why they're both not at 1-in-1 power, but they both now should be at 1-in-1 power. I don't know why this one's not at 1-in-1 power. It would not work while I'm on Facebook Live. There we go. Yeah, maybe because I'm too close. Anyway, so watch this. I'm gonna hit this test button right here. That red light comes back on and lets you know whether it's ready to be fired again. Not gonna lie, it's about the same. I will say that I do have the round head on this one and the 200 on that one, and I'm pretty sure somebody will kill me in the comments for not making sure it's accurate. Look, all you have to know is that it's about the same when it comes to the George, you're funny. It's about the same on that end. All right, so one of the other things that I did see that they did change is that if you were to take this piece right here and you were to screw this on here, because they gave you that little small removable adapter, you can screw this on where your umbrella adapter is. And some people were saying that, which I've always said in most of these applications, that nothing stops this from moving. If you had this up on a softbox or an umbrella, nothing's going to stop that from moving. I've always thought that was a pretty poor design when people do that. And in order to fix that, you can see right here on the 200 Pro that they have these two little small recesses. 2 recesses there, 2 recesses here. I don't believe there's any recesses anywhere else. But those 2 recesses are there. You can see on the top of this new metal adapter, which the other one was metal too. But you can take that, screw it in. I'm tripping because actually has a roll piece right there. That would be smart to make sure that it wouldn't go out. And I'm going to roll that in, and now that is completely locked into place unless you loosen it here. So if you were using this in this manner, this could be nice. Now, I use the S bracket, but if you didn't have the S bracket with you and you did have this with you, it actually would be a pretty cool tool to be able to use, especially if you were using something like the round head bear bulb, or if you were using it on a smaller soft box. But that, I do believe, is a cool feature. You can see mount alone that they went with the same exact mount style that they have been going with all of the other Pro products. So, you know, you can see right here with the other Pro products, they have that mount style that's kind of out here to the left. It makes it a whole lot easier to adjust. So I do want to say that I am happily satisfied with that. Now, oh yeah, and of course the last piece, the USB-C piece is here for updates versus the, already dropped mine. I had mine for a while. Versus the micro USB adapter that you have here. So micro USB, USB-C here on the bottom. I'm covering it with the shadow. So that is a big upgrade. Now, not a big upgrade, but an upgrade. Would I sell my 200s to go buy one of these? Probably not, because I don't have a lot of money. And I have no problem admitting. Let me turn this around so you can see this. I don't have a lot of money. And when I started into photography, I wasn't, I'm a country boy. I wasn't going to spend a bunch of money on a bunch of accessories to keep reselling and stuff like that. Now, I do it to my cameras. I believe that, you know, I always want to have a fresh camera. But will I go sell my 8200 for the GodoxAd200pro? I probably wouldn't sell them unless you do want color mode. Now, I do a lot of product photography, and yes, there is a difference between regular and color mode. I swear it's a difference. Now, my product photography, yes, all day long, I would sell my 200s to get that. In modes where you would want almost the most consistent color possible, yes, that color mode is a big, crazy enough difference to want to switch. That's why most of these lights have the designation of Pro. And that's something that they wanted to stay consistent on. And especially if you used to, like me, use the don't leave yet, Thomas. If you wanted to, if you had the alien bead, trust me, the colors were crazy. So you didn't want to have that shift where you have the same exact two light and it is what it is. Keith, no, they are the same exact size. I'm going to turn this back around and scroll through and answer any questions that I've seen. Somebody asked, do they sell this particular piece here a separate? I am pretty sure they will. I almost guarantee that it will be an external piece that can be sold separately via either the Amazon vendors or definitely our US vendors here. Flashpoint, Molite, flashgear.net, Midwest Photo. I'm pretty sure that that will be the case. George said we're waiting on a Godox group discount code. I'm going to switch these out and I'm going to bring these in. And I did this on purpose. This is my X1 trigger for the Sony. And this is but the X1 trigger for the Canon that was delivered to me along with this 200. Yes, the tripod attachment is definitely a lot better. Okay, so hey, Angelo, I'm glad I can help on that end, and I wanted to be able to answer this for you too. So this is the next part of the series. I'm not gonna lie, this was an amazing trigger. It was funky. It was weird. Now, when the come on, my battery's about to die. When the 200 came out, when the X Pro came out, I knew that it was time to go ahead and switch because the issues that I had with that trigger were there. And if you keep listening to me while I walk away, I want to try to find my battery so that my phone doesn't die halfway through this Facebook Live. Because I thought it was charged, and I guess it's not. My goal was to make sure that if I did switch systems, that I would have a comparable trigger to be able to maneuver these particular light systems. See, for people like me, because I know that there are people in this group, and turn this around, say this so you see my face. I know there are people in this group that just buy these things to go out and take beautiful pictures of models and stuff like that. And even though I do my event where I take beautiful pictures of models, I have clients I use this to make money when I'm at events. And if you didn't get a chance to see my Facebook Live video, there was a Facebook Live video where I was at an event using this round head. For that alone, the maneuvering alone to maneuver as fast as possible, it's worth it. There's a lot of people who are having issues with the V860 when it came to being able to maneuver through the flash mode and going through, those particular modes and trying to change the groups and all of that stuff. And they were getting confused, optical versus wireless. So those features were changed and upgraded. This particular trigger is the same exact way. There is a difference between these two triggers. If you look at it from this point of view, and you might even ask, well, why would I even want this particular trigger if I already have the Pro system? For those people who outright clowned me and said, well, why in the world would I go buy a flashpoint round head when I already have my V60, when all I'm doing is taking my 200 and putting it on the extension head and getting more power? Well, guess what? That's what this trigger is for, and that's just why they made it. I'm going to turn this 200 Pro off, and I'm going to put my extension head on so you can see before I go over the features of the camera. So I'm going to put my extension head on in the background that you can't see me doing because I'm doing it real fast, trying to keep this live video entertaining for you. So that is the 200 with the extension head on. And I'm going to take this speed light head, as they call it in the manual. We've been calling it the Frenzel adapter. And I'm going to take that and put this on top of the X1. Now, on top of the X1, people said that it was kind of funky in the fact that you still had to maneuver here, which I kind of do like, kind of like that you were able to maneuver here. Because you do have a adapter on top, you were able to put this on top of your camera and be perfectly fine. So all they did was say, you know what, let's upgrade what we already have. Let's put this here and let you be able to maneuver on top of your camera the same way you would a speed light. Now you have 200 watts. There we go. Now you have 200 watts, and those 200 watts are basically allowing you to be more powerful than a speed light and have this crazy contraption on your hip somewhere. It was asked in the other group the other day, when I'm using this right here, I was using my spider holster. So I have my spider holster attached, and then Adorama made a slinger case that you can drop that 200 right in. It's not right next to me, so I won't show it to you. I'll show you in a future video, but had a little small case that would slide into, and then you were able to use this how you would want. Now, purposely, I use it this way, and if I were to take this particular adapter back off, I'm going to turn off my regular 200 and put this right here on. So this is the round head. So now I have, I don't know why this is not locking in. Specifically for the video, it decided not to lock in on me. Anyway, but if I were to take any of that, any of the round head accessories that I have here as well, I'm gonna pull those out. Then, let's see. I could take any of these round head accessories and drop these really, really quick right on top. Man, these things are all in these bats together. There we go. And just like that, we're in dome mode, okay? That is what I believe this particular trigger was made for. Now, it does have cool functions. So if you didn't want to go out and buy the X Pro trigger, then this particular trigger is cool in the fact that they now have the group designations A, B, C, D through E right here on the side. So I can hit one of those and they would come up here on the side. I can hit that A, so you can see right here. I'm gonna move this closer. I'm gonna light one out. There we go. Or I can hit B, or I can hit C and maneuver faster. Once again, for those of us who are actually out here in the field using these for events, I still shoot events, weddings and stuff all of the time. That makes that 10 million times easier to be able to maneuver these buttons from here. My test button for my flash is still up here. Now it's on this side versus the other side. It was right here, which I do believe was a really cool feature, but now it's right here. And one of the coolest things, I will say the difference between the 200 Pro versus the 200 is that you actually do have an updated menu system. So all of the new features, all of the new setups are moving this channel button inside the menu. The my 80 my Zoom Lithium Ion X, aka the V1, did the same exact thing. So when you're inside my V1 and you were to go into that menu, there you'll see, if I were to scroll down right here, inside of the menu is now where my channel button lies. And they did this because people were having issues. Some people, not everybody. I mean, let's be honest, everybody wasn't having issues, but some people were having issues with their channel button being pressed, which is cool because honestly, once you're locked into the channel, it's very rare that you're changing channel. You'll change groups A, B, and C. It's very rare that you're changing channels like that. So that channel designation is now inside of the menu. Now, one of the coolest things about this, I think you'll see this an additional piece that they added, is that once I get here and I change my channel, there is now a wheel on the bottom of the on the bottom versus a wheel being here on the side. So that wheel on the bottom will allow you to be able to change really fast like you were able to and give you a little bit more screen real estate. Definitely the screen is bigger on this one, as you can see side by side. It's not big by much, but it's definitely big by enough. And if you needed it, it's big enough. So that screen designation is there. One of the things I'm going to go ahead and change right now, I do have mine in channel 06. For those of my Divine 9 people who might be looking, so that you know, channel 06. One of the things that I will change right now, just particularly for this, because I'm getting tired of it doing it, is changing that light on so that the light will stay on for the entire time. But you can see it's a whole lot easier to maneuver. And they even gave you a screen menu option, so you can see 104. So this one also, just like the Flashpoint R2Pro trigger, has Bluetooth built into it now. So if you wanted to use the app and sync via Bluetooth, you could. You see all of the sync options are still there. So first curtain, hypersync, as well as second curtain. I don't have my beep on because I don't like beep, but I do. It does work in some situations. You're able to change the zoom from inside of here, which was a kind of funky feature before, but it works really good on this one. Look at this. Nobody ever talks about this feature. To me, I think this is one of the most slept on features in the entire setup, is that I can hit set and I can go over here to start. The Flashpoint R2/V1 has that same feature when I can go through here and scan the channels. This is why I believe the channel button is now inside the menu. When I walk to a venue or an event, I can go through here and scan the channels, and it will tell me if other devices are using these particular channels. For some odd reason, I already know it's going to say 06 is already being used, so it might not show up. I don't know. We'll find out. So if I really, okay, now my phone acting crazy. Come on, phone. There we go. Nope. Maybe if I touch it. There we go. All right, so it's going to tell me that the best channels to use, channel 08, 07, 06, 21, 32, 20, 22, 23, 23, and 22. Now, the question I did ask somebody a while ago is I don't know if these are in order. Like if 08 is the best and 22 is like the 8th best. But for now, 08, 07, and 06 are in there. So I'm in channel 06. So these are the channels that are really good to use. This is built directly inside of the trigger. I do believe that is an amazing feature to have. That alone, the number one question that we get in the group, not the number one question, but one of those number one questions is that you always have people who have interference. They'll go to an event. For some odd reason, I'm ready to throw my 200s away because they didn't fire and they were everywhere. And you're in channel 1. You will always see me say, take a picture of the back of the speed light or the trigger or the flash. Your entire setup. They're always in channel 1. Now you're able to scan these channels and see which channels are best to use. This is built right into the trigger, the same way it's built directly into the V1. I believe that is one of my favorite features. Outside of that, I'm able to change my channel here. I'm able to change my ID here. So ID, if you do not know what ID is, it'll give you an extra level of like encryption, or I can go not only channel 6, but in ID 11, so that if somebody else was in channel 6, if a walkie-talkie was in channel 6, it would not trigger my lights in my system. And you have to change that on the trigger and on the light. You have the same sync buttons there. You can still do the app mode and the features like you could do in the other setups. The delay is there for those people who want to use the delay. If somebody can say they've used the delay, I've never used the delay. The distance option is here, which if I have this on top of my camera, I probably want to change this back down to 0 and 30 meters. Here's another really cool feature, the step feature, which will allow you to go right here. So if you look at me, if you look right here, 1/256, I can go all the way down to 1/256 power at 0.10 increments, or I can do 1/256 at 0.3 increments. So what does that mean? And I'll show you real quick. So if I were in channel A, I'm gonna go back out on my menu. I definitely put it back in the wrong one. I'm gonna set that up to go back into 1/10 increments. Hit that set button, hit that menu button, go out to channel A. I can now scroll in 1/10 increments. So you see my 0.2, 0.9, etc., etc. So overall, and those are most of the features that I can think of to show you. And I could be wrong, but those are most of the features I can think of to show you. I do believe that there is a big major difference between the two. Now, one thing I do not have is I do not have a Canon camera to be able to show you this particular grid. And for some odd reason, I still haven't got my Sony one to work, even though everybody says that they've been able to get the Sony grid to work. I don't know. I've tried it on all mine. I can't get it to work. But this is another big, crazy feature. The differences between these two triggers, this trigger and this, are night and day. And if you do want to use these in a mode, like I said, where you were to take this and put it on top of your light, put the extension on top of your trigger and to use this like you would a speed light versus using the V860, then I do believe that this is the option that you would want. There are times where I have used this particular setup with my older camera, my older trigger and setup, and it worked perfect because, let's be honest, the 200, even on an extension, is still powerful than a speed light. This is still a speed light, people. Please understand, it is still a speed light. It'll still put out the output of a speed light. The speed light will never be able, in most situations, to overpower the sun, especially when you have somebody in the direct sun. This will give you a little bit more power, maybe not as much power, but it definitely will be a whole lot more power. So that is the major differences between the 200 Pro, the 200 regular, as well as the X2tpro and the X2tpro and the X1 trigger. I want to say at the end of this video, for those of you all who are still watching, that I do thank Midwest Photo for being able to let me borrow these for a couple of days. It was cool to be able to play around with them. I'm going to hate to have to send them back, but before I sent it back, of course, I had to do a video for you all so that you all can see the differences. And of course, when I get mine, and I will definitely make sure that I get this particular trigger. And knowing me, I'm pretty sure I'll buy another Ad200pro because I do need 2 more lights for my setup. I think it will be amazing to be able to upgrade to do these 2 crazy features, 2 crazy lights as a part of this setup. If there's any other questions that you have right now, if there's something that you want me to test out, let me know as I come to the close of this video. I'm going to scroll back to the top and see if there was any more questions that I missed. Lala said, what did you buy me? Yes, Angelo was right. There definitely is more consistent color consistency in the 200, especially when you put it inside of that pro mode. Let's see. Yeah, Angelo, I'm definitely glad you were able to see the differences between the two. I think I answered Grant's question. The price differences. Man, I knew somebody was going to ask me that question. I think somebody mentioned that they might be $50 difference between the 200 Pro and the 200 regular. I could be wrong. I don't know. The prices vary, man. I want to say, I cannot remember this. I want to say that there aren't that much of a difference between the two. If I can scroll through my phone real quick and Facebook Live not go out. Well, that wasn't what I wanted to happen. It is $359 for the 200 Pro. Michael Wise said, will the trigger be sold separately? Yeah, the trigger is definitely sold separately. And I want to say I've already seen a vendor, I think, at least one that I know of, Adorama, that's selling the 8200 Pro with a round head kit. So 200 Pro comes with a round head kit, a nice little case that goes with it, and all that comes together. I'll definitely put the pre-order link for the 8200 Pro, this Godox 8200 Pro, in the link description of this video. That's the one that's for sale at Midwest, and I'm pretty sure near the top of the page in the group. I think I know for a fact that Adorama, I checked this morning, that they're already available. They're already shipping. The 200 Pro, their Evolve 200 Pro is already shipping and already available. So anyway, if you have any more questions, let me know while I have these before I bring these back. And I greatly appreciate Midwest Photo for allowing me to answer some of your questions for you. It was a crazy amount of questions that were being asked about the difference between the two. They reached out to me. I did not reach out to them. I'm going to move this so you can see. They reached out to me. I didn't reach out to them. I'm glad that I do have new working relationships with new vendors who are coming in the group who want to be able to answer questions for you. I do believe that is the purpose of this group. Sharing photos is nice. Critiquing photos is okay, depending on your thought process on it, as long as you're not rude and crazy and nasty, which is why the rules have been implemented that you must at least ask for a CC. But I do believe that the major purpose and the reason why I created this group is that I wanted it to be a great support system for those people who are involved into this system. I wanted you to be able to come through and ask questions. It bothers me sometimes when somebody says, especially if they're at an event, I have this 8200 Pro for some odd reason. I get the little flash icon that's circling. I don't know what's wrong with it. And somebody says, look through the group settings and look. It's annoying. If you can answer the question, answer the question. If not, please keep scrolling. This group, first and foremost, is a resource for people who do have these lighting systems and want help. They want to be able to have questions asked. Now, if it's a crazy question, I'm going to be honest, there's some crazy questions that have been asked. Here's what it is. I don't delete everybody comments. Yeah, it's as simple as that. If you have any questions, though, definitely let me know. I'm trying to keep looking at this camera. If you have any questions, definitely let me know. Two phenomenal devices, though, and I'm glad that Godox is still just cranking out something crazy. You always ask that question when something like the 600 original came out. Like, how can they make this better? And then they made the Pro. How can they make the 200 better? And then they made the Pro. And they were able to figure out one of the major features, which is why everybody kept breaking the back of the screen. Little stuff like that, man. What makes it ergonomically better? What makes it faster? The X2 definitely is faster if you were at an event. The round head speed light maneuvering is a whole lot faster. I'm not going to show you everything on that because I've already done a video on that. On the side of the group, especially if you're in the desktop version, there is a tab for videos, and you can go through and see all of the videos. And most likely you'll see a lot of my videos, my random Facebook Lives in there. So yeah, I'm gonna get off this thing. I got something to do today. And I will see you all later. Enjoy.